In this episode, I speak with a Kenyan-born woman named Gladys, who shares her deeply personal transition into motherhood. Gladys expresses the despair she felt around the circumstances of her life at the time, something she describes as falling off a high cliff and plunging into the depths of shame, grief, and loneliness. With time, love, and sheer determination, Gladys picked herself up after each hard fall and found a way to move forward with resilience. Through self-discovery, she stumbled on a word that offered meaning and understanding to what she was feeling. This word is matrescence. In this conversation, Gladys describes the significance of this word and how understanding the transformational process of becoming a mother brings validation, peace, and empowerment to mothers worldwide. She couldn't hold back in talking about this, and so, as a maternal coach and matrescence activist, Gladys has made it her life's work to help other Kenyan mums also receive this gift through the power of community amongst women. However, what I found most eye-opening about this conversation was her recount of the unique challenges and, in fact, injustices that is the reality for many women from her home country. And so I share a trigger warning that this conversation includes topics and themes around forced arranged marriages of girls as young as 14, female genital mutilation, domestic control, gender-based abuse, and poverty. This is hard to hear, but it has to be told for the women that are suffering who do not have a voice that's listened to. But I want to reassure you that this episode is filled with heart, awareness, hope, and determination to make a difference in the lives of mothers around the world. After listening to this episode, I invite you to journal your thoughts. What are you most grateful for in your own mothering? And please do reach out if you need to talk or receive support. Special guest Gladys. Gladys, can you tell us where you're joining from in the world and who you're a mama to? And maybe even just a little bit about the beautiful work that you do with women and mothers.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, beautiful Ketura, for hosting me in this beautiful podcast. And first of all, I'll start with my name. My name is Gladys Kangau, and I am a mother of 3 beautiful babies, 2 boys and a girl. And I am from Kenya, a country in the eastern part of Africa, a very beautiful country. I am a mom coach, I am a matrescence activist, and I support moms here in Kenya who are going through the transition into motherhood. And I have been doing that for the past 5 or so years. And that is the work that I've been doing and still doing. And that's a little bit about me, beautiful. Yes.
So you haven't been doing much, just raising 3 children and serving the needs of the mothers and women. Quite a bit, I think, Gladys, quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
I'm really excited for the listeners just to hear your perspective from Kenya and from another culture that may differ in some ways from ours, but also maybe quite similar in the needs of mothers. So
Yes.
take us back to the beginning of your motherhood journey. Who were you before becoming a mother, and how did you experience that first transition into becoming a mother?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's a beautiful question, Ketura. Um, First of all, I used to be a very busy, woman. I used to be in corporate. I used to do um, sales and marketing. I was in the sales and marketing team. I did study nutrition back in college, but quickly I realized that I was good in sales and marketing, and I was into the corporate world, and I loved being in the corporate world because it was all about hitting goals, hitting targets. You know how it is in the marketing world. People celebrate you when you've done a good job. You have signed up 100 clients in a day,
Mhm.
or you have hit a certain percentile, depending on what it was, what the goal was. So I used to be so competitive back in the day. I used to be very, very competitive. Um, waking up early, hitting those targets. So that was really my my world back then before I became a mother, and yeah, that slowly changed when I had my first baby. I know you can relate to when now motherhood. When you get to the other side, there is a bit of changes. You're no longer celebrated for for certain things, because motherhood is not about hitting targets. It's not about who's doing the best in that. So it was really, really a huge transition for me when I had my first baby, because first of all, I started off doing it alone. It was really a lonely journey, and I had to take a step back from working. Juggling, because my previous job was really demanding, so I could not be able to juggle uh, being a mother and now doing that. So I had to take a step back to take care of my beautiful daughter, who is now 10 years old. So beautiful. It was really a huge transition for me. Yes.
Absolutely. And that context really helps us to understand that just how much of a shock it must have been. Because, as you said, like when we are in jobs like you were, there is always some sort of validation or celebration or just acknowledgement that you're achieving tasks and that you're, being so-called productive. But when you have a child, it's just no one is actually patting you on the back. Nobody's saying, well done, you've made it through another day. And yeah, you've expressed, very beautifully just how lonely that experience can be and how much grief there is even in having a child, even though it's so beautiful. It can also be, it can feel like a loss of our old self, can't it? Do you remember a moment in your motherhood journey when maybe something started to shift internally for you and you started maybe seeing yourself or motherhood and life in motherhood differently?
Oh yes, beautiful. Once again, after I had my baby, at least when she my firstborn, I was able to get back to work. I think it took me like an year, and I was able to get back, and I was feeling myself, um, feeling I can do this. I can still be that corporate person or sales person, and I can still be a mother. So it was really, really, I slowly started to get back to that. But things shifted now when I had my second born, because now it was unexpected. I had just gotten into a new relationship, and what happened was, now I was feeling myself. I was getting to a new relationship. I was you know happy again. You're feeling like I'm getting my life back, and then unexpectedly I got pregnant again, which now shifted. Now that's when things began to shift, because now my partner at that time just bluntly told me he did not want a baby. So you can imagine now how it was for me. Uh, Now I am left in this point where he just said direct. He said, "I don't care what you're going to do, but I don't want that. I don't want a child. You should have known I was not prepared." So now things, now from the get go, things shifted for me, beautiful Ketura, because now you're here trying to figure yourself out again. So it was really, really a difficult season, and I don't like to share about that, but I hope it will. It's a story that I know it's going to help maybe someone who's listening, but or strengthen someone, because it was not an easy moment for me, for my firstborn was 3 years at that time. She was still a toddler, so you can imagine how things were. I had started working, so now I had to shift again, and also my family was not really pleased. So it was really a deep. Things took, like I felt like I just dropped off a cliff, from the high, take a plunge off the cliff, and wow. Memories are coming back when I'm just thinking about that. But yeah, so when I had to finally first accept my situation, which was not easy, accept this is what it was, and I'm going to have this baby. And at that time, I'm grateful that I had a friend who really helped me. She said, you know what, Gladys, you're going to be okay. So I had to relocate because, sometimes you feel you just want to be away from people that know you. That's what I knew then. I wanted to be somewhere where I was a stranger to anyone, because I was so ashamed, carrying a pregnancy. The dad already had said he didn't want anything to do with it. And again, beautiful, I had to do it alone again. So I moved away. I looked for a small house, started over. I started another job which could barely pay my bills, but I said, okay, at least I'll save a little bit money for my hospital. In fact, that work that I was doing could only pay rent. I just was staying in a one-room house. It was a one-room house. It didn't even have a toilet. We had to share a toilet outside. So there, and just near to the work. So it's the only job that could hire me when I was pregnant, because I had to leave my
Okay.
other job because, things were not working. It was really demanding. So now when I had my baby, my goodness, I had now to move back home with my mom. I had no one to take care of, and they were not so pleased, but they accepted me, and but it was tough, beautiful, because now I had a toddler and a newborn, a 3-year-old and a newborn. And that is when things began to shift. I say now that is when I had this bouncing, beautiful baby boy, very beautiful, who's really, really the person who made my life uh, what it is now, because he was a loud baby. He never used to sleep. He wanted to be held all the time. So I was constantly now juggling, taking care of my 3-year-old, and now this one, taking my small child to school and taking her, doing the laundry. And it was really tough. And I remember I used to go to the clinic near, when you go to regular clinics for injections, vaccines, immunizations for the baby. And there was this lady I'll never forget, and we are still good friends up to now. She used to talk about postpartum depression. And about the postpartum depression, she will talk and the symptoms, and she will explain when we were at the line, when you sit at the waiting room, waiting to be called into the doctor. So she will stand there and talk to the us moms at the clinic. And that is when I noticed she's talking about postpartum depression. And personally, I knew I was going through something, but I didn't know what it was. So I knew, yes, there is postpartum depression, but I felt the shift inside was so huge for me that I knew there was something else, that has to be another word for what I'm going through. And that is now when I knew something shifted for me at that time. So that was the beginning of my journey, beautiful Keturah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Gladys. It can be such a vulnerable time in life, isn't it? And we will move on to what you then were able to learn and how we were introduced to one another. But throughout this whole process of you going through these two pregnancies and having these babies, and particularly, I guess, this second one that was wrought with a lot more sadness, maybe, and somewhat. I'm sure all the feels, some level of trauma, some level of frustration, disappointment, sadness, grief. I've always seen you manage your life as a mother and what your, I guess, lot in life was so graciously and so humbly and with such a positive kind of, yeah, tenderness, I would say, tenderness with yourself and with the way that you still viewed your situation. So a lot of people will be looking at you and thinking, maybe there's some that also relate that have had a similar experience of losing a partner at the time of them either becoming pregnant or when they had the baby. But a lot of people will be saying, how did you do that? How did you get the strength to keep going through that, all those shifts and that sadness so that you could be the mother that you wanted to be and the woman that you wanted to be? What helped you?
Oh my, that's a beautiful question, Ketura. It took a lot of inner work. And
Mm,
as you know, becoming a mother, you have to look inside yourself. You have to really, really accept that situation. And that is what it took me a while. I'm not saying it took me a few years,
mm,
because there are times I never even used to come out of the house because I was embarrassed. The judgment, what will people say? And I could even see it in my parents' faces. They were not happy about the situation that I was in, because I was this career person, and all of a sudden you're at home, you're staying at home, and as you know, the expectations of parents, when you reach a certain age, you're expected to have your life figured out. And here I was, so I was feeling so much shame even for them. And but I had to go through the fire. I can say I had to go through that, the embarrassment, and I used to write a lot. I used to journal a lot. I can say journaling became my thing. So whatever I would feel, I would write it. I would write it
mm,
down. And I love listening to music, and music also healed me. But I had to do the inner work, and start accept. Okay, this is my situation. This is where I am at, and I had to start all over again, and I had
mm,
to heal, because now the relationship was still painful. It was still, now you have this baby, and it was painful part of my life. And I would look at the mirror, and I couldn't even recognize the person that I am. But slowly but surely, now I started now also looking online, as I told you now, this soul searching about now that deep shift, that shift that really was profound. I can say it was really profound and loud, and really loud. Now I had to look online, and now when I started searching online, actually I found this one lady who really held my hand. Her name is Beautiful Jean, and I'm sure you know her. But she but even before I met Jean, when I was searching online, I tried to look for other women. Are there other people who are going through at least what I'm going through? Are other moms who are sharing their transition into motherhood? Is it so loud? Because all mostly we could see is the picture perfect photos, is the happy marriages, happy relationships. But that was not my situation. But I told myself I don't want to um, let this define who I am. I can't overcome this. And I wanted to be stronger, not only for myself, but for my kids. So I'm grateful even for, even when you're looking for something, I think also the universe usually brings it to you. So that is how my situation was, beautiful Keturah. I searched
Mm.
online, and I slowly but surely started to find my community, people who spoke my language. So that is what slowly made me come out of my shell, come out of my darkness, and started to see the light. Yeah.
Thank you. That's so inspiring, and also just like really reminds us of that the online space can be such a beautiful thing as well, can't it? At times, without it, we would not have been able to have all the connections that we have around the world. So, draw us into this beautiful word that means so much to you and to me, and hopefully to other mothers. When you first came across this word, what did it stir in you?
Oh my goodness. It was like as every woman say, and I've had them talk about it. So it was my aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, finally, a word that describes what I'm going through. Finally, I am not crazy, because I know so many moms who are out there and who will be listening to this. You are out here and you're telling yourself, I am going through something, but maybe it's just in my head. It's not just in your head. Or am I the only one who's going through this? Because that is my story. That is what I was going through. Because when I was at the clinic, and I remember being at the clinic and I was seated next to other moms, of course, you can't be chatty at the clinic. You can't just start talking. So you're just listening, waiting to hear your name to go into the doctor's office. And I remember just looking at them and into their faces and ask myself, are they going through what I'm going through? Are they going through? And I was just curious, just asking myself. They look okay. They look put together. They're happy. Their babies are healthy. And also, not me. I'm looking okay. My baby is happy and healthy. But inside, I was a mess. I was a mess. And I used to ask myself, am I the only one who's going through this? So when I heard about that word, I just felt like a huge relief that finally something uh, explaining what I'm going through, something validates my experience, something that I can finally go and Google and research, and I can they say words create worlds, beautiful. And that was
Yes.
my world, and I started to see that world around that beautiful word. So uh, my life has never been the same, Ketura. Yeah.
And we haven't been able to wipe the smile off your face ever since.
Oh yes, you can see I'm always smiling because
Yeah. And the word
I
is, I
just
don't know if
want
we've
to
actually
shout it
said it, Gladys.
on top of the rooftops, on top of the mountains, and it has never been the same again.
Hmm. Hmm. So this beautiful word is.
Oh my goodness, yes, it's matrescence like adolescence. Yeah, so it's the
Mm.
transition of becoming a mother. It's the transition that woman goes through from the maiden to the mother. So it's a beautiful word, and it's related to adolescence. And as you know, Ketura, uh, matrescence and adolescence are almost similar. So it's a beautiful word that changed my entire life, and I changed. So I'm sure it has changed thousands and hopefully millions one day of women around the world and around the globe. So
Yes.
such a beautiful word. Yes, beautiful.
Yes. Certainly is. I felt the same too. And Like just circling back to you being in the clinic and hearing that other lady talking about postpartum depression, really, before understanding the word matrescence, they were the only two options, weren't they? You were either kind of a normal mum, so to speak, or you were a postpartum mum. In other words, you were depressed, you potentially going mad, you were not coping, and nothing in between, just two very, very strong extremes. But there's so many mothers in between those two things, going from what perceived to be a normal mum on the outside and what perceives to be a mad mum, I guess. There's so many mothers in between thinking, but what about us? Where do we fit in? We love motherhood, we love our children, but we're very confused about how we've changed and what's happened to us. So having like language behind what this change is just opens up so many possibilities and so much understanding, and can really just transform us, the hugest difference in our life, can't it?
Oh yes, beautiful. Oh yes. Ah, I just loved how you have said it, because yeah, it's either you're okay, you're a normal mom, or you're depressed. There's nothing in between. And that is what I was searching back then at the clinic, because that lady was talking about depression, and I applaud her work. She is a postpartum depression survivor. She is an
Mm.
amazing um, advocate for women who have gone through that. But I was asking the same way you said. I was asking, where does that leave me? And
Mm.
am I okay? I'm not depressed, or am I? I used to ask myself so many questions. Am I depressed? But no.
Yeah.
So if I'm not normal, so it was really, there was no word. But I'm just grateful for um, matrescence, because now it finally talks about what every woman goes through, because I feel like it doesn't matter which side of the world. You can be
Mm.
here in Kenya, you can be where you are in Australia, and any woman around the world goes through that transition, just the way we have all gone through adolescence. There is no
Yes.
person who has not gone through that transition. So it really, I just get goosebumps every time I get a
Mm.
chance to talk about it, because it speaks for every woman, and it gives a voice to those women who don't have voice, like I did. I did not know. Now I have the voice, and that is why I'm so passionate about this work. Yes.
Oh, that's so amazing. Yeah, it's true. It affects every woman. And I know that sometimes I hear women say, oh, motherhood hasn't changed me at all. And I'm thinking, it will one day. So it may not happen like in the first 6 weeks, in the first year, in the first 7 years. It might be when your child's 15 or 30, or I think our friend Jean, if I can say her name,
Yes.
yeah, like
Yes.
it was when her daughter was 30 or 40.
Yes.
It will affect you. It's not that it's necessarily a terrible thing, but you have to change. There isn't going back to who you were. Like you said, you wouldn't be an adolescent but wanting to go backwards. You know, you have to move forwards, and matrescence does have a way of moving us forward. In saying that, how has it changed you? What ways have you noticed in your life that matrescence has changed the way you move around in this world?
Oh, I love that question, beautiful Ketura. Matrescence has changed the way I view the world. I used to view it in a very, like go. I used to be so much in the masculine, but matrescence really softened me
Mm.
uh, in a beautiful, I can say, hard way sometimes. Also, even to going through, the different phases of motherhood. From newborn, you can't sleep. now the baby is starting to feed. You have to figure out what they're eating when they're sick. It has found a way to soften me, because I used to be, working, in my masculine so much. And now I have to find a perfect balance to still be that productive mother who ensures that her kids are well taken care of, but also in that softness, to understand that sometimes I have to take a step back. Sometimes I have to understand things are not, I can't control everything. So it has really brought that balance, and also to love myself for who I am, because sometimes we usually look for outside validation. We don't really trust ourselves. We don't really trust our bodies. But um, if you're able to carry life, that is such a beautiful thing. We get to carry this human being and give birth to, and nurture our babies, breastfeed our babies. So our bodies carry a lot of wisdom, which we are not taught. We're not taught to trust our bodies. But with time, now that I'm a third time mom, I've really, really come to trust my body, my own body, and love my body, because this is the body that has and also still will carry me for the rest of my life. So it's just amazing to understand that and love myself, no matter, sometimes we want to be skinny, sometimes we want to be this. But when you look into yourself as a woman and see how you have been able to carry your babies, nurture them, hold them, hug them when they're crying, comfort them, it has been able to take me from point A to point B. So it has really, really, motherhood has really brought those things, those insecurities that I have been having, even when I was a girl, I was a little girl, to really appreciate myself and love myself for who I am. And also, most importantly, to be brave. You know, you have to be brave when you are a mother, and because you want your kids also to see you being brave. And sometimes uh, it's hard to be brave, to speak up, even right now when we're advocating for matrescence to be, for hopefully one day for the policies to accommodate mothers. You have to be brave. Yeah, personally, I have been brave to speak up, because so many things are happening around the world, and you begin to see that this world accepts women to work like they have no kids, and mother like they have no job. So you have seen their system is rigged. So it has been really enabled me to be brave, to be a champion of such policies, and speak up for myself, even, and also for the women around me. So those are some, but there are many, but just some of the things that motherhood has made me a better version of myself, if I can say. Yeah.
You can say yes. Yes, it's so true. It's sort of, it's something that softens us, but it's
Yes.
also something that ignites that real strength of character, that real strong determination and advocacy towards all women that become mothers, because we don't want any mother to feel alone, do we? We don't want any mother to feel like she's doing this alone and that there's something wrong with her. And so that continues, I'm sure, to light the fire in you to keep supporting the women in your community, so that they too know that they're going through something, and it's a way of refining who they are.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes. Yes. Oh yes.
So let's talk about your recent birth and postpartum season. Since this time around it was at a very different stage and season of your life. How is what you know now, with regards to motherhood and matrescence, how has that changed the way you've entered this third time?
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, it has been a wonderful journey for me, both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I can mention all of them, but um, knowing now, when I've entered into motherhood compared to my other two, um, just being a bit kinder to myself, because it takes time for you to get back to even your hormones to get back, for you to recover. Because in my other, especially with my firstborn, I just thought, I remember when I had my first baby, I was washing clothes. Here we hand wash our clothes. So I was washing clothes by 2 days, 2 days after having a baby. So because I didn't know better, I didn't know, you're
Mm.
supposed to give yourself time. But at that time, I didn't have anyone to help me until much later. But uh, now I've known to slow down, and knowing that I have grown this baby, I have given birth. Even for me to internally heal, it takes a few months for me to heal. Research says for you to heal, if you've had a normal delivery, for at least 6 months for body to recover physically, and also at least 2 years for hormones to get back uh, together. So you can imagine, knowing now what with what the knowledge that I have now, or rather the wisdom that I have now, to slow down, to ask for help. Um, right now, I'm not doing it alone. I have a huge village that is behind me, from the friends from the village that I've created throughout the years with other moms. And to be a living testimony that it takes a village to raise a baby. You cannot do it on your own. And society tells us, we have to be superwoman. That's what it is, self-sacrificial. You have to put others first. I have known that that is not true, and having that truth with me has given me so much peace. And to know that this season I am nurturing myself and my baby, and I have never been happier. I have never been much more at peace, and knowing that this season will pass. My baby is not going to be this little forever. So I'm not going back and not trying to please people and please the society. That yeah, I've bounced back. There is no bouncing back culture. And I've seen so many people usually talk about that bouncing back, getting back to your old self. There is no getting back. So I'm much slower, much wiser, um, much more. Give myself a lot of grace, and knowing
Mm.
that whatever I need, if I feel like this is what I need, I listen to my body more, which I'm sure you can relate. Listening to your body is really very important, especially being a mother. When you need rest, actually take that rest. When your body is asking for sleep, when your body needs nurturing, it will tell you what it needs. So honoring my body, honoring myself in this season has really been my priority. Beautiful. Yeah.
Mm. So good. And I really hope that there's many mothers listening to those words and taking that on board as something that is valuable and they deserve. Because as you said, we're in society, no one's really celebrating you. No one's really saying, good job, you've bounced, even if you've bounced back, no one's really caring. So it really deep down is up to us to protect our peace and protect our needs, and the slowness that this recovery takes is just to really honor that. And there's something quite powerful about entering motherhood again, isn't it, with that deeper self-awareness which you have. And I really hope that many mothers will be listening and saying, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes, I hope so too. Uh, because it changed me. It really transformed me. And as I
Yes,
said,
I
I'm
can
not
see that.
knowing now. We need the wisdom, and that is why we pass it on. It's passing the baton on to other mothers, a first time mom, a second time mom, to that mom who's listening. We are passing it on. This wisdom has been passed on from other women who were before us, and we are honored to carry it on, and even to our kids and our future generations. So it is really, really important for a mama who is listening, that just know that you are not alone, and it's not just in your head. And that is why I love Matrescent so much, because it has really opened this whole new world in my life and in my community. Hopefully one day it will go global, and that every woman will never feel alone, and not feel like um, they are less than, they're not important, because we are always, we as mothers, we are always taking the back seat. But with this uh, movement, we are hoping that no mama will be left behind. Yes.
Absolutely. And you know what I'm hearing is also with your growing village. I'd imagine that many of the mothers, women in that village are ones that you yourself have supported. And that is so beautiful to really sit with that and realize the flow on effect that this has had throughout your community, that you've supported them. They've grown to understand the meaning behind matrescence and needing support and honoring that. And now they're giving back. And it's just, it really is touching, isn't it, to know that that's something that you've built too, Gladys, and should be very proud of, in that women now are reciprocating that support. It's truly beautiful. But I know you work a lot with women, as we've just mentioned. What do you notice? I think part of the reason, which is universal, no matter what part of the world, we have a lot of things that I think, sometimes in a conversation I had with you a few years back, is that the things that we often complain about in the Western world seem very trivial to some of the things that you would be going through in your part of the world. But I think universally, we all have this sort of unspoken expectation that we should be able to handle it, we should be coping, and we shouldn't need help because being a mother is not very special. So many women are mothers. What's the big deal? What do you notice some of those unspoken expectations are that are placed on mothers in Kenya? And what are some of their challenges that may be different from, maybe challenges that we have here? Mm.
Oh, yes. First of all, I want to say, here in our country, of course, it's very, very different from the Western world, because especially mothers, can say motherhood here, and up to even recent times, women are not usually taken seriously. Here in our country, um, women are still being circumcised. They're still going through oppression like that. So it's really, really a place where many women, uh, girls are still married off young, So you can find a 14-year-old is married to a 50-something or 60-year-old man. So, and it's something that is real here, part in this day and age. It's still uh, something that still goes on, and so many of these young girls believe, and they have been told to believe that if you're not circumcised, you won't get a husband. So they have to go through that. They have to go through that because that is what they have been told to believe, and they actually do it. So some parts, I'm not saying all parts of Kenya, but still here it is in this day and age. It's still a big issue, and still the community, even if our government has really tried to sensitize and speak to the community about that, they still say these are our ways. These are our ways. And at the moment a girl hits puberty, you have to be married off. And some of these families, they come from poor families, so they have to do that because they need money. So they have to give up their daughter. You know, they say, go to your husband, because how will we feed the rest of your siblings? For example, maybe they have 10 siblings, so the parent, the firstborn, has to go because to sacrifice herself, because they say we have to we have to get married so that we get money to feed our family. So some of these issues are still real here in our country, and even up to the recent times, not many women went to school because they're not. It was not. It's not something that is seen as value. Uh, Most of them, ended up being married young, having kids. So you can see the dynamics here in our country is really, really different from the Western world. So you find not many women, they ended up marrying. Most of the women, in most that I've worked with, ended up also getting married young because of poverty. Poverty here is really, really huge. So you find that you instead of suffering, even my mom got married at a very young age because of poverty. She was the firstborn, and even she tells her story. She didn't. My mother, my own mother, didn't even go to high school. She reached primary level, and she had to start working at the farm fields, farming at as young as 12 years old, or 11 years old, which is the same age as my daughter now, because of poverty. So she had to start working, because it's either that or you stay hungry, or your siblings. She was the firstborn of 7 kids. So here dynamics, most many women get married at a very young age because of poverty. They want to get, at least help themselves. So motherhood here, working with such mothers and different dynamics is you can see it starts off as a place where it's not valued. You start young, so you end up now you are depending on your husband. So if you're depending on your partner or husband, what does that mean? There is control, because if he's the one that is working and you're not bringing income, and I've even seen it with my mom, going through domestic abuse, domestic violence, because at the end of the day, you're not the one providing for this family. And I've seen my mom going through that domestic abuse with my dad, because of that. And I remember even my dad used to tell me, you're going to be, if you don't read, you're going to end up just like your mom. You're just going to end up just like your mother. So it was really, it's something that is really personal, because I have gone through it, seeing my own mother. And it's not valid. You're just a mom, so if you don't have education, and your mother is not usually valued, so it's not seen as something that of importance. So many women get into motherhood uh, like that. So you get off, you get married early, then this man is the one who's providing, and he ends up he's the one who controls everything, and you have nowhere to go. So you end up now, even if you're going through abuse, even, and I speak this from my own mother, she had nowhere to go. She can't go back to her parents because there is nothing there to go back to. You have no education, so you have to stay because now of the kids. And my mom always tells us, I stayed because of you. I stayed because of you and your brothers. I stayed because where will I go? Yeah, I stayed because now you have to get an education. Yeah, who will take care of you? So many of the mothers that I work with go through that because not educated, going through cycles of abuse, and it seems like as a normal thing. It's not really taken seriously, and even up to now, beautiful Ketura, it's not something that is far fetched. Femicide in Kenya has become a high rate because so many of these young girls get into relationships at a young age, motherhood, and someone who controls you. So when you try maybe to get yourself out, they end up getting killed. Or I don't want to say that word, but it's just something. Even up to recent, people are marching on the streets. Even recently on Monday, this Monday, today is Friday, yeah, this Monday, people are marching on the streets because so many young women have been
I'm
analyzed
just
by
sitting
their
with that.
partners because
It's been hard to
abuse
hear,
here, even in our country,
but
the
it's the
systems
reality, isn't it?
don't work, and even if those are
And I think
arrested,
it's really
uh,
important that
the
you
case
share
doesn't go. They
that.
walk away free. They don't
Um,
get charged.
and
Some
obviously, in
are
sharing that,
released
it's
because they
you're
have
also
power, they
speaking on
have
behalf of
money.
all of
So
those
it is something
beautiful
that
young
we are still
girls and
fighting
women
here in our
who have
country,
suffered.
and it
Mm.
really affects women, mothers, because
And
if
as
you
you
don't
said,
have
it's a cycle that is still
power, well, there's
perpetuating.
nothing much
It's
you
a
can do.
generational cycle, isn't it? That's been going on for eons of time. That it's very hard to break, I guess. But have you noticed, so working with mothers that maybe have gone through some of these extremely difficult circumstances that they had no choice over? How do you work with some of those mothers? Have you seen them have an aha moment where you've been able to help them to maybe cherish themselves in some way? Tell us something that's come out of that that maybe has been like heartening to hear.
Oh yes, I love that. First of all, when I began my community, I think it's been like 5 years now. I used to have a shop, and
Mm.
I used to sell beautiful clothes there. So I just started by the moms there would come and check out the clothes, and I noticed I can start bringing. I didn't start off selling kids clothes. So I
Mm-hmm.
started selling men's clothes because in my business mind, I knew in your business you look for your niche, and I knew that maybe I will start with selling men's clothes. Then I slowly realized there are women in my community who needed baby clothes. So I started now selling baby clothes at a very affordable price, and I will call the woman. I mean, sorry, women who came with will come to my shop with their beautiful babies, and we just started having conversations. Just talking and sharing, how are you, and I will ask them, so how's your day? And I'm sure, Ketura, you can relate when someone asks, how are you really, not just the I'm fine, but
Yes.
how are you really? And the floodgates will just open and someone will share just their story. And I quickly realized that there is a gap. So that is when now I started inviting mothers in my community and in my shop, in the community, to my shop, and we'll say, okay, well, let's meet this Saturday at this time, and we will just share our stories. And I just started by giving them a safe space for them to feel, finally I can share without feeling judged. I can talk about my issues without feeling judged. As a woman, you can't share your story with anyone, Ketura, because you will
Mm.
find people, maybe if you're going to the local church or at school or somewhere, people will be gossiping. But when you share, but it became a safe space. And quickly now, I met now when I met now a group of now other women, and we started a beautiful here in our country we call it a chama in Kiswahili, but it's a self-help group. So quickly we registered it, and now I'm the chair lady of that. And we started now putting a little bit of coins together. So we started saving money together, and that now begin. We not only had a safe space, but we now progress to empowering one another. And as you know, when you empower a woman, you empower a community. So we started saving money together. It's been 4 years now. And what I can say, it has been phenomenal because these women are able now to start even small businesses, even if it's just selling vegetables by the roadside. It has been that, or taking a bit of now, we save money and we uh, give it as loan, and you pay back with a little bit of interest, not much, just within our small circle. Yeah. So that is how we began. We began now empowering one another, and these women, we can bring as little as 100 Kenya shillings here. It's under one Australia pound. It's a little, I think, one Australian dollar, or close to one Australian dollar. So we started with just the small amount a woman could bring. So saving, and at the end of the year, we distribute it amongst each other. So it's called table banking. So now stable banking is where now someone can be able to borrow. Maybe they need to pay school fees, or maybe they need to buy baby clothes, or maybe they need this or that, whatever. They need to buy sugar in their home. So it started now as an empowerment to empower one another. So not only do now I support them with that, and with the talks and just the safe space. Now we are able to, grow together. Now this mother stopped from feeling, no, I don't have to only depend on my husband. I don't have to depend on my relatives. I can, at least I have somewhere outside where I can get money for me, that I can start a business no matter how small. So these women, sell just vegetables at the road. They cook foods, just maybe some tea at the roadside. So it has been really, really empowering for these women, and even for myself, to just watch ourselves grow. And for these women, there's a secretary, there's a treasurer. To have those roles, for these women to have those roles, it gives them a purpose, for them to look forward to these meetings in our little community. So it gives each woman, each member, a purpose, to feel they belong somewhere. They're not isolated, because as you know, isolation for motherhood is really difficult. So even when we are going to the meeting, they know we have to be on time, we have to do this. We used to cook. We have been cooking together as well. We find days where we plan, we cook together. So it has become more than a community. In fact, we are like family now. So that
Mm.
is something to smile about. Beautiful. Yeah.
It certainly is. Yeah. I'd imagine some of those women at first, it takes a lot of courage to come and sit in that group, doesn't it? Because there's still so much fear and control that's put upon them to make them maybe not want to be seen in the group, or want to be in some way doing something that's they're not, their husbands and families aren't used to them doing, or fear of, like, any repercussions. Is that something that they face as well?
Oh yes. Oh yes. We have encountered that. Some of the women, they even have had to drop out because of their husbands. They say, I don't
Mm.
want you in that group anymore. And we have had to, you know, um, accept. that is still our reality. We are still there's still someone who says, my husband, someone that we used to have a beautiful treasurer who left us, and her husband even broke her phone. He denied her coming because he thought there's nothing good. There's a way people associate a group, women's group. They think like there's nothing we are going to talk about our husbands or our partners, or there's nothing productive there. So we have faced such challenges, but I'm really, really grateful because with time, we have grown close and we draw strength from one another. And women can come in and share. Okay, I've not heard, my husband has done this, and we have found solution. And if it's reporting it to the police, just empowering, knowing that you still have a voice. Yes, you can be married, and there is misunderstanding when it comes to marriage, but that should not be the end of it. You can still speak up. So it has really taken us a long way, but at least right now, the women, at least right now, they are able to stand on their own 2 feet and speak and say, no, this group has been really helpful. And if it escalates further, we can go to the police. But if others cannot be resolved, well, we just have to accept the situation. That is how it is.
Yeah. You're doing an absolutely phenomenal work. And even if we were to see one mother that felt seen and heard and started to think about herself in a slightly different way, then it's all very much worth it. But I know that this is not true. This is happening with hundreds and hundreds of women. So really grateful for people like you, Gladys, doing this work. It gives us real hope, doesn't it, that things can change, and it might take a while. It might take, longer than we'd hope, but little by little you can start to break down some of those very toxic cycles and help women to really value themselves.
Yes. Oh, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So is there a charitable work that you do? Is that still going, and is there a way that we can contribute to that? How does that work?
Personally, right now, I get help from the Mama Rising movement. I'm sure you are aware of that. So if you can donate towards the Mama Rising movement, because there is a page where there is a global foundation that the beautiful Amy Taylor Kabaz does. So if you are listening out there, you can be able to support that foundation, because that is what the foundation now supports me to be able to even do this work with these amazing, beautiful women, and to even continue to grow my wings and to spread it out in my country. So I'm sure maybe you'll be able to share the links for the Mama Rising. It's there. It's a global foundation, but it is there. So the beautiful Amy has been supporting me over the years, and I'm grateful. And I know it's not only her, but just that foundation has really been able to support that, because I am the brand ambassador for Kenya here in Africa for the Mama Rising. So if you support that, now it trickles down to supporting me. Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Yes.
And we'll put that in the show notes as to how someone can
Yes.
access that.
Yes.
So what is something that you hope that every mother listening remembers about herself?
Wow. For herself?
I know it's a big question, a very big question, but maybe just some words that a woman can take away from the close of this episode.
Oh, that's beautiful. If you're listening, beautiful mama, I just want to tell you that you are amazing. I know you don't hear this enough. Yeah, it's being a mother it's thought that it's just another tick that we check off our list, but it is a huge work that you are doing, and most of it goes unseen, it goes unnoticed, most of it it's not celebrated, it's just obvious. Yeah, you're expected to know what you're doing, but I just want to celebrate you. I just want to know that you are amazing. You're doing so amazing, raising a child. Even if it's one, people will tell you one is not hard. Even if it's one, even if it's 2, 3, depending on how many babies you have, it is huge work that you're doing, and I want you to celebrate yourself. Know that you are not alone. Know that you are loved, and I want you to always have the strength to show up for yourself, because always pour into you before you pour into others. You know, we are expected to always give others, but I want to always find time to do something that you love, that you enjoy. And I just hope that if you have not known about matrescence, now you know matrescence is an actual word that hopefully one day is going to go global. And I just want you to know that you're amazing. So I can talk until tomorrow, but I hope that you know that the transition, your matrescence is amazing, and it's really something to be celebrated.
Yeah, 100%. And if a mother has just heard that word for the first time, matrescence, please reach out to Gladys or myself with questions or insights or aha moments or things that brings up for you, because it certainly is a word that has the power to change the way you feel about yourself as a mother from then on. So it's a very special gift to know it. And the ripple effect of nurturing one another from many parts of the world, one woman, one family, one mother, it certainly extends far beyond what maybe you and I can see. We might think we do a little bit of work, but it can have such a ripple effect. And so that's why I'm so grateful for you and the work that you do. And I'm so happy to see you're really enjoying this third time with your baby.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I am.
And you're truly blessed and deserve to be at this point in your life too, Gladys. So yeah, much love to you.
Thank you. Much love to you, beautiful Ketura. Thank you so much for even giving me this chance to speak to your listeners, your viewers. It's been amazing, and I am enjoying my motherhood this time now. And I'm not saying it's not easy. It's easy. It is still hard, but
yes,
knowing now with the wisdom that I have now, it is much more better. Yes. Thank you so much.
Such a pleasure. I trust that you enjoyed this episode. Postpartum is Forever is a podcast that is focused on honouring the mother. My wish for you is that you feel more aware, less alone, more empowered, and a whole lot kinder to yourself in your mothering. Your support means the world to me, and so I would be grateful if you could follow me on my Instagram page, Postpartum is Forever Podcast, and share this podcast on your socials. Rate and review this podcast on whatever platform you're listening from, and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. Big love.